tell you for a fact that this election is between.
They sold form recently for 100 million.
There's no meaningful development that can happen without peace, without us being united.
Arrest all unregistered vehicles.
I think we have shown the depth and breadth of talent in our Conservative Party.
Because you want to prevent a situation whereby that powdery substance will be flushed immediately.
Tell you for a fact that this election is between.
They sold form recently for 100 million.
There's no meaningful development that can happen without peace, without us being united.
Arrest all unregistered vehicles.
I think we have shown the depth and breadth of talent in our Conservative Party.
Because you want to prevent a situation whereby that powdery substance will be flushed immediately. Because you want to prevent a situation whereby that powdery substance will be flushed immediately.
All right, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on another edition of Straight Talk right here, Bright Television, Room of Talk and Entertainment. Don't forget that the program is basically designed to look deep into issues that affect Nigeria as a country and Nigerians, our citizens. Welcome to the program. My name is Ayobami, Adeyemo. Kindly follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and catch us live on YouTube. Make sure you get your TSTV decoder, channel 102 on TSTV Africa. Let's get to talk about some big stories in the media space this beautiful morning. Well, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria was at his hometown yesterday, Katsina, where he also showed support to the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress. And of course, he urged Nigerians to be part of the movement of this party. He arrived at Katsina alongside some other members of the presidential team in support of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's presidential ambition. Well, in his own speech, talking to the loyalists in Katsina yesterday, he asked the loyalists of the All Progressive Congress and of course Nigerians to vote the ruling party, and of course never allow those who are killers and who have stopped Nigeria from growing to the big giant of Africa that is supposed to be, to get into power. Let's listen to what Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has to say. We'll be back.
Tell you for a fact that this election is between.
They sold form recently for 100 million.
There's no meaningful development that can happen without peace, without us being united.
Arrest all unregistered vehicles.
I think we have shown the depth and breadth of talent in our Conservative Party.
Because you want to prevent a situation whereby that powdery substance will be flushed immediately.
Tell you for a fact that this election is between.
They sold form recently for 100 million.
coming. And we promise you, the children of those who are left as orphans, the wives of the widow or widower, will be catered for. Those who, our men and women in uniform, who sacrificed their efforts at saving lives, we will not forget any of you. This is your government, and this government will definitely continue to pursue crime with determination, courage, and perseverance. We are the people who want peace and progress for the country. It's a progressive party that the 16 years of those poverty development party, we will never sustain, and we will never allow them to come back to govern over you again. We are saying no, no, no to PDP, no to the evil, to the killers. No. God bless you. Thank you.
Well, Ashwaj Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Katsina State, of course, about to definitely eliminate terrorists if given the chance to rule this country, Nigeria. Well, still in politics, the People's Democratic Party had their own stop over in Benue State, where Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, alongside the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Senator Yoshes Ayu, was on ground there to see how the People's Democratic Party also gets better votes from the people of Benue State. We'll cross over there. When we return, we'll be looking at some other different issues. Stay with us, please.
There are a few of our members who have grievances. We are talking to them. We want to make sure they come back and work with us fully. 1 week is enough to change everything. This thing has been going on. And I want to assure you that we will receive everybody back. I'm appealing to my younger brother, Governor Otom, to come back and join us so that we'll fight to rescue Nigeria. There is no better party. Governor Otom has nowhere to go. His only house is the PDP. And every time he comes, we shall be more than happy to receive him and all PDP governors. 2 days ago, Governor Ikpeazu was in my house because he lost his gubernatorial candidate. We have resolved problems with Governor Ikpeazu, and the whole of other people are coming back. We want all our candidates, all our governors to be with us, because if you allow APC to win this election, you will regret it.
On behalf of myself, the People's Democratic Party, we want to extend our condolences and sympathies to the families and loved ones who have lost their lives in the last 7 to 8 years in Benue State. Secondly, as Zege Mulewu Thief, I am the umbrella of Thief people all over the world. I promise you, if you elect.
All right, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar right there talking to the people of Benue State. Well, the governor of Benue State he wasn't present at that particular rally. Well, away from Benue State, let's go straight to Kwara State, where the presidential candidate of the Labour Party was also right there. In his own speech, he said that he's going to make Nigeria a one nation and unite us as a country if given the chance to become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. Peter Obi speaking to his loyalists in Kwara State. Let's listen to him. We'll be back again.
Whether they're from the east or west or south, but I'm in Nigeria. We want to move Nigeria from consumption to Nigeria is not producing anything today. Kwara State is one of those places we will invest in agriculture to be able to use agriculture to industrialize and for export. With that, to bring down this inflation, your money will be worth something. With that, we have food available to people. With that, we'll create jobs. With that, we'll do export and bring down the rate of your exchange. It will be a win-win. We want a Nigeria where they will not have to strike.
God will help you.
4 years will be today they don't care about you.
Yes.
We want Nigeria that cares about you. We have cared about them. They are the only ones who benefit in Nigeria. That is why the money they borrowed, we can't find it. They are just swallowed by snake. By goat. No longer. We don't want the Nigeria where goats. We have slaves follow the money. To make sure that snake is in shoe. And our money is in the bank. This year's election, they are going to come to you and they will tell you to vote for them. Whether they're from the east or west or south, but I'm in Nigeria. We want to move Nigeria from consumption to
Well, that is the Labour Party presidential candidate in Kwara State. Well, the governor of Rivers State, Governor Nyesom Wike, has said that the Nigerian judiciary, security agencies, and Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) should be held responsible if the nation's democracy collapse. He made this call while he was addressing pressmen on the results of the 5 River State High Court judges and of course 2 customary court of appeal judges that is sworn in yesterday. And while talking to the pressmen and the judges, he said that the judiciary, the security agencies, and INEC must stand and of course be responsible for the 2023 general election. Talking about the judiciary system, yesterday many reactions as Nigerians received the judgment from the Supreme Court giving a mandate back to the Senate President Ahmed Lawan to represent Yobe North Senatorial District. That's not our conversation today, but we want to look at a very hot issue as Nigerians are also lamenting, clamoring and asking the federal government, the CBN, to do the needful in getting our lives back on track. Talking about the redesigned Naira note. Some indication shows that the hardship is still on ground, and many Nigerians are saying, when will this definitely end? Don't forget, part of reactions to that, 14 political parties have threatened to pull out of the 2023 elections over the Naira design note. And to join me to discuss this and many other issues, especially as it concerns Nigerians, we have experts in that particular sector. We have Dr. ALIYU. He is an expert in economic and, of course, a concerned Nigerian. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us on the program this
Thank you for having me.
And, of course, we have, I should call him Apostle Henry OLALI. Thank you so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you.
All right, let's have the conversation move to this direction. Now, it's no more news. In fact, we have governors from APC meeting. They met the president, demanded that we should have old and the new Naira note being, recognized as a legal tender alongside for a long period of time. Extension, as the case may be. The court has said there's no extension. There's a judgment over that the president and the CBN should not extend this then. And of course, we also have governors from Zamfara, Kogi, and Kaduna State saying, taking the president and the CBN to court concerning this particular thing. It's no more funny. Let me kick off from Dr. ALIYU. How do you react to the situation we have on ground? Let's kick off from there.
It's quite saddening, and the fact remains that as it is moving to the judicial part of the government, it's becoming much more serious. But as it is now, you will agree with me that Nigerians are suffering. Suffering indeed. And the fact remains that CBN is also contradicting its own policy. You've agreed earlier that Nigerians can access sum of 100,000 and 500,000 naira. So now that you are bringing naira redesign, you are now saying they cannot get more than 10,000 naira on counter, and they cannot withdraw more than 20 to 10,000 naira via ATM. And you're not even commissioning enough money agents to really serve people. And I must tell you this as well. I was at a particular bank at Central area in Abuja yesterday. The bank was locked. There was no old naira to give Nigerians, and there was no new naira to give Nigerians. Where are we? And if you look at the Mr. President said by Friday, we should give him till Friday that he's going to sort everything. I don't see it settled. And they only have two options. First option is to allow the two currency to be going pari passu, maybe till June or at least 3 months. And the second option is to make sure there is enough new currency availability. Because according to CBN, they have been able to mop up about 2 trillion. They should bring out the commensurate new naira to the public. So I think the CBN is not doing what is expected from them. And politically, there are also political angle to it. And that's why people are going to court. So that they can, because election is about 2 weeks to this from today. And you also have Friday. So I think government is, President Buhari in particular, is in a very is in a condition that he must come out, and he must not wait till Friday. That's another thing. He must come out Thursday and say this is the position. If you wait till Friday, I don't want to be a prophet of doom. People are suffering. I could give you a clear example. I was somewhere they want to pay a woman who sweep a particular environment. They want to pay that woman, and I say, madam, bring your account, let us transfer. She say, me, I don't have account. And truly, she does not have a bank account. And she even said, if I ever tell somebody to help me collect this money, I'm going to trade off 2,000 naira from 15,000 naira. That she will not collect such. So indirectly, we are killing informal sector. And remember, this informal sector, about over 50% of Nigeria work in this informal sector. So if you're now saying they must operate bank by force, and even with this idea of new naira change and other new naira redesign, other things, you are able increasing exclusion, not inclusion. So you must CBN must factor these people in. The informal sector are very, very key. We could say people, the elites, could transfer when they want to buy fuel. They could transfer maybe at supermarkets.
This cashless policy,
yes,
cashless
and
society.
we must not deceive ourselves. Nigeria is doing 1.8% to GDP in terms of cash. So we are doing well in terms of cashless. So it's a deception that we are not. most big economies are doing 5 to 10%, and we are doing 1.8. That's a good one. So when you say cashless, honestly, we have keyed into cashless as expected.
Well, let's look at the CBN. The CBN has come, they've come out to say that, well, a lot of cash is out there, but there are some saboteurs that are also trying to hoard this cash. There was a joint security operation alongside ICPC and, of course, EFCC with CBN, and they mopped up some amounts of money, even in Abuja, Federal Capital Territory. How do you react to this? Is it the CBN policy or the Nigerians ourselves?
This is a very sensitive, discourse, because it affects every area of the lives of Nigerians. And like he rightly said, Doctor, Nigerians are suffering, and that's the truth. People are going through hell. In fact, there are several videos we've actually watched of people who had to strip themselves naked in bank halls, crying for their monies. That is not supposed to be the state of affairs in this nation. Now, from clear observations, we discovered that there are unwholesome practices. There are people who actually take advantage of these opportunities. They siphon these monies. I think this is probably in collaboration with some persons in the banks and even in the CBN. So what they do is they get these resources, they get these monies, and they give it to their own people who do businesses for them, especially the people who operate this what we call the POS. So you find that the people who need this cash can't even access it, and the cash goes to these people within the same space.
Well, it's a big allegation, because we must have proof as regards that. If we have anybody that we can actually get a clip of them doing such thing, probably we bring it up.
There are videos. It's unfortunate we don't have them actually. I mean, people have come forth to these allegations with videos of these things happening. You see, it has gotten to the point where people are so pushed to the wall. They are finding out solutions, but it is not possible for you to have everything here to be able to display. But we see it on the social media on a daily basis. What I'm saying in the nutshell is, these things ought not to be this way. These structures have been put in place, but like he rightly said, the CBN had a responsibility to put a solid structure on how to handle these eventualities and intricacies as they arise, by making enough Naira notes in circulation way before this time. In fact, I was discussing with a friend, I was trying to share with him. I said, 6 months before now, the same thing they are doing now is what they ought to have done. Train staff, get people from the various banking, various banks, get people from the various money agents from the various zones now to the various geopolitical zones. Then from that you narrow it down to the states. Each of these would have representatives down to the various local governments, to the wards, and to the various communities. Get these people trained, assign them to the various areas they're supposed to go, and ensure that monies are made available. Now, so recently I saw a clip of, I think in one of the northern states, Katsina, they actually took currencies there and were given to them. Now, this is exactly what ought to have happened like 6 months before now.
So the timing is wrong now.
Absolutely wrong, and that's what's affecting Nigerians.
A big indication. But CBN have said that, in fact, the governor of CBN, Godwin Emefiele, he said that the central bank staff have been deployed to local governments now to show the commitment to orientate people, to give them access to these funds. Now we have Naira notes, the new one. This is the old one. This is how to know the authentic Naira note, or the real Naira note from the fake Naira note, and of course to make sure that they have access to this note. You think CBN, do you think they are doing enough?
But the fact remains that you agree with me that this policy is impromptu, and there is no proper concept.
What time is the best for any policy in Nigeria?
Not implementation, even the conceptualization itself. And remember, if you want to do such thing, you need to bring in stakeholder. You are there when Minister of Finance came out and said, I'm not part of this policy, and it will boomerang. We are seeing it boomerang now. And apart from that, we have other stakeholders. We have banks, we have money agents. Don't joke with those people. Perhaps even CBN has commissioned 30,000 money agents now to go around and make sure this money is in circulation. But this is the timing. It's very poor. Remember, CBN has brought out about 4 policies now. If you recall, we have new naira design, we have cash limitation, we have also have Afrigo. You know, Afrigo, they're going to launch it this month.
They said
now,
they said the later part of this month.
Yes. Now the fact now remains that if you are bringing this, remember we have election as well, so you have to be at least be calculative to an extent and before you bring stuff. So this one is ill-timed, and that's the major problem. Now let's go back to solution, because now we have seen the problem and it has caused a lot of problem. Now it has led to political dimension, and that's the case now. So people are now seeing that president has came out that he did not want people to use our money to induce voters. That simply means that president have his purpose of bringing this. Remember, in 1984 he also carried out this, so it's part of him to actually do this. I will agree with you that it did not involve much stakeholder because they want the effectiveness of it, but this is economy. It's beyond one man show. It has to do with stakeholders. Even governors are also complicit. So going forward now, we need a solution between now and Friday, because government president said give me till 7 days, and 7 days is going to elapse. So government must come out with solution that will bring succor. And if you have to get solution, like I told you, I went to bank yesterday. The bank said there is no there's no cash. Also, you could see that in some videos, some bankers are going out through the fence. People are now a lot of agitation, so there must be cash. I think that's the solution.
The solution is there must be cash. Reaction in Ibadan, your state capital, where lots of hoodlums also came out to destroy properties in that particular place. But let's look at the political part of it now. Many persons have reacted to this part. In fact, Governor El-Rufai came out to say there's a cabal that is also working against some certain set of people with this policy. Fuel scarcity, cash shortage in the society, and many other things. Yesterday, another former APC chieftain also came out to say that there's another cabal in a cabal. So we have cabal stories here and there. But the political part of it, do you think is a witch hunt from any part?
Well, if you look at the occurrence of events, you can agree with me that it is timely, or it is timed, if I may use the word. It seems more like it's been structured to have a certain effect, because everything is unfolding at a particular time. So if you're thinking and you're looking at these events, you'll be able to ask certain questions. Why are all these happening at the same time? Like you rightly said, the limitation of the currency notes, the implementation of this at this particular point in time, the fuel scarcity, all of it just towards one direction, limiting a certain availability of this, which would most definitely have an effect in the extent to which people would have the right to do certain things as they would want to. Also, in some of these videos, like we heard about the one they said the monies, new naira notes, missed their way and went into the house of one of the chieftains we're talking about in the APC. So the videos were there. How would new naira notes? I mean, we're in a country where today they get up and tell you that a monkey swallowed a certain amount of money, this certain amount of money, they snake this, and you're talking about a full van of a new naira note missing their way into the house of a chieftain. So looking at the events, you could see, of course, and then of course it's within themselves. This is accusing this person that there's witch hunting. This is not even from the masses, it's from within. And if you look from outside, you can be able to see that something is happening, even though you can't physically see.
A big challenge. Well, like you rightly said, accusation from political party to the other, People's Democratic Party, and of course, All Progressive Congress fight over alleged 22.5 billion naira vote buying fund. Now, there's a lot of stories behind that. Let's look at the political part of it.
Well, if you look at it very well, you could see that when this thing happens, it was APC presidential candidates that first raised an alarm that they don't want us to do this. They don't. But if you look at that, the PDP presidential candidate also follows suit. But now they have changed gear. If you notice now, they now say no, let's it close, because one thinks if they didn't bring out the they didn't extend it, it will favor them. So what is even politics itself is who get what, when, and how. And that's how is what everybody wants to take advantage of. So it's even globally. everybody wants to take advantage of a policy because there's always something behind public policy. But the major thing that is concerning Nigeria as a Nigerian is that any policy that makes people the downtrodden to worse off is a bad policy. So now we are looking at this implementation as a bad implementation that affects the maybe the people in informal sector, because even if you say it should continue, people will still suffer. It won't get to those corners that it's supposed to get. I must tell you this, some people are out of business for the past 2 weeks because nobody transacts with them. I have a first-hand experience. I need to board vehicle from Zaria to Kaduna. I don't have cash. I stopped the first vehicle. Oga, I will transfer to you, you zoom off. The second one, Oga, I will transfer. I say, come inside, come inside. You know, what am I trying to say? What if I do not have that opportunity? How do I do? So it affects a lot of people and it's killing the business. I must tell you, it's like a more of self-inflicted recession we are bringing to ourselves. Because once the domestic GDP itself will be slowing down and it cannot help our inflation. Our inflation is structural inflation. That has to do with the security and a lot of things. So we must look inward and make sure we make availability. For me, I think the best government can do, let there be availability of old naira and new naira concurrently and now give another date. Because if you say you want to allow the new naira to be in use, it is not available. So I think CBN itself does not bring out, because the fact remains that if you say you want to bring new naira, enough new naira notes out, what you should do is that go beyond banks. Banks are not everywhere. In some states, we have only 3 local governments that have banks, and they could have like 24 local governments. So where will the 21 local government get the money from? So what you could do is that commission money agents. Let them know that even as you are giving that money to bank, tell bank that this amount must go to money agents. You must not reduce 1 naira out of it, and it solves the problem.
But the impact is very, very worrisome and of course alarming. We'll look at that impact after the break. I must also say in Nigeria, only in Nigeria, that is where I've seen a Nigerian buy his own currency in his own country. We'll go for a break now. When we return, I have my guests to discuss the impact and of course 2023 elections. How are we going to get it right? After this break, stay with us please.
Tell you for a fact that this election is between.
They sold form recently for 100 million.
There's no meaningful development that can happen without peace, without us being united.
Arrest all unregistered vehicles.
I think we have shown the depth and breadth of talent in our Conservative Party.
Because you want to prevent a situation whereby that powdery substance will be flushed immediately.
They happen for inside there, we
Skit Chat, right here on Bright Television, the home of talk and entertainment. Skit Chat. TSTV, connecting your world.
tell you for a fact that this election is between.
They sold form recently for 100 million.
There's talent in our.
Because you want to prevent a situation whereby that powdery substance will be flushed immediately.
Thank you so much for still staying with us. Straight Talk right here on Bright Television, the move talk and entertainment. Ayobami Adeyemo is my name. I still have my guests in the studio with me to discuss the state of the nation, of course, matters arising right now. An expert in economy and, of course, a political analyst. I have Dr. ALIYU Ilyas. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you.
And, of course, I have Henry OLALI. He's a consultant and, of course, human capacity building, youth activist, and the current DG will be DATTI, National Student Directorate. So I think it's good to have you anyway, since we're talking about the next phase, and elections is just 18 days? 17 days
from now.
17 days to go as we speak right now. So
Thank you.
The impact of this would definitely fall on the desk of the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let me ask you, what do you think will be the first headache and how to cushion this effect if we still have this in progress? And of course, as we proceed to the next election, what will be the first assignment of the next president?
Well, I would tell you, I must say that it's going to be a huge responsibility for the next president because first of all, we'd have to look at stabilizing the economy. That will be the first thing. The economy has to be stabilized. If that doesn't happen, then you can walk. So you're looking at all of the policies that have been implemented that has affected the lives of Nigerians, from the currency up to the fuel scarcity, up to food, and then up to the educational sector. You see, these are key areas that has affected the economy. The currency, the educational sector, and the fuel availability of fuel. All of these things are so the main responsibility of the next president will be to see how we could be able to get all of this in place and get things working. Otherwise it will be extremely difficult.
All right, Doctor, you want to react to that?
Well, for me, I do not envy whoever becomes the Nigerian president, because it's going to face a multi-dimensional problem economically. First and foremost, that person must remove fuel subsidy, because that is the mainstay of the economy. Remove fuel subsidy, you have enough for other economic sector. Perhaps you must come up with a short-term, medium-term, and long-term plans for Nigeria. And the thing is this: if you don't do well next 6 months, there will be unrest from the look of things. Because Nigeria wants like a messiah now. Whoever is coming should come, having suffered to an extent. It has global dimension anyway. Because I'm not saying the present government find it much more easier, because we must agree that there's a global problem. But however, you must come local and provide a local solution.
Well, you said 6 months. I'm still going to stick to you. That do you think 6 months will be enough to actually feel the impact of any policy that we can make, knowing fully well that we have inflation, the global dimension you mentioned, and every other thing that has been affecting our economy? Right
if you remember when this current president came in, he came in with a baggage. People have to hide their money, people have to be adjust until they discover that it's now all political in the long run. So if you come with a policy blueprint and you have the right person, not mediocre, at the helm of affair, Nigeria would have seen that this policy that you are bringing, it's a good policy that will feel, and Nigeria will key into it. So 6 months shows where you want to go in the next 4 years. So it's very, very key they came, but because by the time you remove the fuel subsidy, you increase budget for education, for health, and people can see what you are doing. Because within that 6 months, they will take over by June, right? So by that June, you'll be preparing for your budget. You forward your budget by maybe November, December. Would have seen what you want to do with that budget, and would have be able to key into it. And let's come to even the currency and what have you. The next person that is coming, I must say this, is going to meet a very good place to start the economy. You know why? Nigeria have suffered everything. So you are coming to just kickstart everything, and you are coming on a fresh, especially if someone like, you know, that has not been in government comes in as it is. So it's going to be a good one. But for people that have been there before, they've seen what it is. As what you said, he's going to continue what President Buhari is doing. Atiku said that he's going to privatize a lot of things to bring efficiency. Peter Obi said he's going to bring production, you know, into Nigerian, so that we can actually believe. So if you look at the three of them, and even if you look at the idea of Asiwaju itself, he believes in state-owned enterprise. Do you get why Atiku believe in privatization? Why are the Obidati correct? Is bringing the combination of the two. So if you look at it very well, it's not them that will do the operationalization of this policy. It's those people they engage, employ, appointed that is going to do. So if you look at it, and that's why we always talk about Obasanjo. Obasanjo bring the best hand to the Nigerian, and he be able to do a lot of things. So don't bring mediocre. El-Rufai was brought somewhere, Akunyili was brought somewhere, Ezekusili was brought somewhere, and they came and they perform. So we need them to bring people that are capable and have the capacity.
All right, team effort, definitely people that are capable, that can work to make Nigeria a better place. All right, let me go to the DG, will be DATTI, National Student Directorate. Now, there's been a lot of conversation about students registration, the location, if they don't get join elections, if they're not given that break, because most of these schools, because of the ASU strike, during the election they might be writing exams. So if they don't get that break, that means they won't even exercise their own franchise. Now, how do you react to that quickly?
Yeah, so that is a very, very important matter. It has been considered a whole lot, and like we've spoken thus far, when you look at the event of things, you see that it seems it's like a structured, planned, course of action to have a certain effect. Now, when you look at the student population in Nigeria, you look at the age range of between 17 to about 36 years of age. This has the wider range of the voting strength and even the population of Nigeria. And we're looking at as much as, at the recent count, was 60-point-something% of the strength. Now, during the period of the registrations, students were on strike. So they were in their various homes and locations. And towards the peak and closure of the elections, we just discovered that somehow things got rearranged. Students went back to school just recently, and now there's a huge academic work. They are trying to now rush and meet up.
Do you think that that was planned? Because the federal government asked Nigerians to beg ASU to get back to work. So it's not, I don't think it's from the federal government. Do you think that was actually planned?
Now you're talking about begging. We're talking about
joining the ASU strike.
Yes, now you're talking about begging. We were talking about doing the right thing. There were demands. These people were being owed. It also begs, the question of what people who work at the educational sector get in comparison to what the politicians and the political office holders get as remunerations, as what do you call them now? Yes, monies that are accrued to them. You can't measure them, and that is one of the things that Peter Obi is saying. When he says when he comes into, if he's elected the president, there will be an equal playing field in the amount that is paid to both those in the educational sector, the health sector, and those in the public office. Because these are the things that makes people want to strain and fight. So, like we were saying, now the elections are by the corner. Students ought to be in the various locations where they registered at their various polling units and centers. But with the academic activities going on now, the pressure and the exams in this same week, how do the students cope?
Well, putting on the
academic
hat at this point in time, I think that week should be they should make it a work-free week.
Yes. Considering the fact that these students have been on strike for almost a year.
Most of them are even on exam now. But the fact is that make that week free. Because the fact remains that some of them have their PVC at their various maybe place of residence, while some have it. Let everybody be free to go to where they want to be. For me, I'll be monitoring the election that day, and I expect to see considerable number of students coming to. This is a part of what we want to monitor. So you have to give them that free hand, irrespective of the political party they want to vote for. Because even not only Labour Party, APC is canvassing for student votes, PDP is canvassing for student vote. I'm convinced that all the major parties and other parties, I'm convinced that they will want there to be a free period. Or let's even call it an holiday. 3 holidays, 3 days holidays. A day to travel, a day for election, maybe after election. Perhaps, as we know in Nigeria, a week to your election is always, everything will seem paralyzed for that period. So I think we should canvass more for students to have that opportunity to go to where they get their PVC and vote. That is what is
sorry, to quickly add to that. You see, it is key that this is done. In fact, we're talking about there's going to be a press conference on this matter, because you can't tell me that students spent almost a year, and when it comes to the most important and defining moment for their society, for their nation, and you're giving them responsibilities that they cannot. No, it's wrong. So we are saying from the students' angle here, give them at least 1 week. If they could stay at home for almost a year and nothing happened, why is it so important that it is this 1 week that they will have to do all of the academic activities? No, it will continue. It won't change anything. But 1 week, let people have 2-3 days to travel to their areas, have 1-2 days to vote, and have the remaining 2-3 days to come back to school and continue their academic activities.
Well, interesting conversation. We hope that those saddled with that responsibility will look deep into that, and of course allow the students to vote. Well, before we go, a lot of questions keep popping in, and I must definitely ask this final question. And it's all about, we're talking about this 2023 elections, people coming out to canvass and to. If I may ask you, this election, as important as it is, how do you think Nigeria will become in the next 1 year after this election?
Well, anything politics, anything political, we get more educated per time. If you look at when it was Obasanjo period, we are not this educated politically. You won't see this a lot of agitation and commitment. So this has taken us to another dimension, and we have got to learn more. I think it will be a good resources going forward for Nigeria.
All right, I want your reaction to that. Next 1 year, what do you expect from Nigeria after this election?
Well, after this election, there will be a whole lot of restructuring. There will be a whole lot of structures that are put in place. Like he had rightly said, we've gotten to the point where we've seen, we've experienced, and we've learned. And so coming forward, it will be a place where people are intentional in putting structures in places that will bring about the functionality of the society that we find ourselves.
All right, Governor Wike mentioned judiciary.
Right.
And he talked about security agencies, and INEC. We've seen different stories unfolding itself, from Osun State Tribunal to Yobe North Senatorial District, and we are seeing it over and over again.
It's quite appalling that judiciary are becoming people that even confirm our election in Nigeria. So sad. I don't know how we got to this level that every election will end up at Supreme Court. Perhaps I'm even convinced with the judgment of Yobe North. I don't know how an appeal court will declare so person, and it happens in Akpabio issue too. So I don't know. I think judiciary needing more cleansing to ensure that they do what is needful.
Well, the political party actually got that part, the case into court, and according to Ahmed Lawan, he said he wasn't interested again, but now he's given that chance to represent his people. Final words before you go. Nigerians are listening, students are watching, and of course, your people are also watching. Final words before you go.
Well, this is it. We're saying to every student, you have the responsibility to come out and vote. The society has gone through a lot. You have suffered in the hands of systems that has not helped educationally, that has not helped the economy. And we're saying this is the time to make the change. This is the time to step out, lend your voice, speak out, say the things that hurts you, and step out to vote the right person that will bring about the positive radical change that will create a new lease of life for Nigerians and Nigeria as a country.
All right, Dr. Ilya, your final words.
All right, thank you so much. I want to urge Nigerians to participate in election. This is our common patrimony, and all you could do is that make sure you come out that day and vote your choice of candidate. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, gentlemen, for being part of the conversation. Definitely we'll bring you up again as we hear more stories about the cashless.
Hope it will, at least by Friday, there will be solution.
There will be solution to that. All right, I've been having conversation with this gentleman, and of course, I've done justice to our discussion today. I have a consultant, human capacity development, youth activist, and of course the current DGOB DATTI National Student Directorate in the person of Henry OLALI. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, an expert, a political analyst who loves Nigeria dearly, talking about Dr. ALIYU. Ilyas, thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
That's the package on today's edition of Straight Talk right here on Bright Television and of Talk and Entertainment. Like I always tell you, I keep reminding you, when you play your part, I play my part, we have a better place called the Federal Republic of Nigeria. On behalf of everyone that's been behind the scenes to make it a success this morning, we say thank you. My name is Ayobami. Adeyemo. God bless you. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Goodbye.
Tell you for a fact that this election is between.
They sold farm recently for 100 million.
There's no meaningful development that can happen without peace, without us being united.
Arrest all unregistered vehicles.
I think we have shown